You are listening to the Southwestern American Choral Directors Association Connections podcast, where we will interview choral directors, leaders, and movers and shakers within our region. I'm your host, Dr. Jeff Wall. We hope you enjoy these conversations. Please like and subscribe this YouTube channel for future content. Hello, I'm talking with Rob Dietz today. Rob is a multiple Contemporary A Cappella Recording Awards winning producer who has been arranging, performing, and teaching contemporary a cappella music for over 20 years. He's based in Los Angeles, and he's known for his work as an arranger and group coach for NBC's The Sing-Off. Rob has a deep passion for a cappella education and is a founding co-director of A Cappella Academy along with Bram and Avi Kaplan. In addition to his work with the Academy, Rob is also the director of Legacy, an auditioned community youth a cappella group based in LA. Rob currently serves as the National Repertoire and Resources Co-Chair for Contemporary Commercial Music for the American Choral Directors Association. And so now I bring you Rob Dietz. All right. Hello, everyone. We're here with Rob Dietz.
Hello.
Yes. So thank you for joining the little pod we got going here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Maybe you can first start out by just giving us a little background. What path brought you to the Rob Dietz musician extraordinaire that you are today?
The Rob Dietz experience. I got my start, as most people probably watching this, just in choir when I was a kid. I remember just like fourth grade, like that switch going off, being like, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to do this. And I got started there, sang all through middle and high school and stuff like that. But right around kind of freshman year of high school, I started discovering kind of contemporary a cappella stuff. And like pop music and a cappella. And I was really passionate about, all the choral experiences I was having, but I was also just so lit up by this music and this way that I could kind of take this like group singing that I loved from choir and turn it into this sort of contemporary pop thing that was so exciting. So kind of as my choir experience continued, I started to do more contemporary a cappella stuff, and I started a group at my high school called Ascending Height, so named because we were all this tall when we started and we were all this tall when we ended. And did that all through high school and just really got excited about it and started to, this was kind of 2000, early mid 2000s, when the internet was just sort of starting to expand, and met a lot of people through just different online, areas where people were excited about a cappella, and use that to just kind of make connections out in the world and start to get really involved in that community. So once I graduated from high school, I went to Ithaca College. Right in my hometown. I grew up in Ithaca, and then I also went to Ithaca for college, and studied, I was a bachelor in music with an outside field in business. So not quite a dual major, but more than a minor. I just say it's a dual major because it sounds more impressive. But did that, sang in a group there called A Cappella that I directed for a couple of years. Did all the choral stuff there. It was amazing. Dr. Janet Galvan was my first conductor for the first 2 years of choir, and then Larry Dobler was my conductor for the second two. Wonderful experience there that really shaped kind of who I am as a choral musician in a lot of ways. And yeah, graduated from Ithaca because I had grown up in a small town and gone to college in a small town. I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go as far away as I can before I start coming back. Looked at a globe, found Sydney, Australia. So I'm going to go there. And just decided to do that after I graduated. I did a little bit of graduate work at the Australian Institute of Music in Sydney, Australia, for about 6 months. I was supposed to do 9 months, but while I was there, there was a show called The Sing-Off that was on NBC that was starting to get popular, and they were finishing their second season when I was down there. They were renewed for a third season that was going to be twice the length of the second season. And Deke Sharon, who's a name that a lot of people probably know, was the music producer on that show. And he and I had worked together, just through the contacts that I had made, through the aforementioned internet a cappella stuff. I had worked with him when I was in high school. I had done workshops with him and written some charts with him when I was still a teenager. He was a real great mentor to me, and he was producing the show. And I said, "Hey, I gotta work on this show. This is the coolest thing ever. Like, what do you need? I'll make your copies. I'll make your coffee. Like what I couldn't make coffee. I didn't know how to like. I was like, I'll figure it out. Like whatever you need. And he was like, yeah, like come to LA and help me out on the show. So cut my time in Australia short, went to Los Angeles, started working on the show first as an assistant, worked my way up to an arranger and group coach. That was the season that Pentatonix was on, so I got to see them as little babies, little 18-year-olds rehearsing in the hotel room for the show. And yeah, stayed on the show for 3 more seasons after that, and then just stayed in LA. And everything has sort of flowed from that. I definitely did not want to go back to upstate New York winters, so I decided to chill in LA and stay here. And now I do a cappella arranging and composing and teaching and a little bit of beatboxing and performing full time. And that's where I'm at now. So lately, I've started to kind of bring back in some of the choir stuff, my choral roots. I'm the co-chair, National ACDA co-chair for repertoire and resources for contemporary commercial, but my focus is on contemporary a cappella. And Kelsey Burkett is my other half. She focuses on show choir. But so I've gotten back into that community, and I've gotten really passionate about writing stuff for choir that uses techniques from the contemporary a cappella world. So that's really been a kind of a pivot for me over the last few years, is getting more into that community, writing more for that community. I'm so excited about all of the techniques and the things that can really be opened up from the world of pop singing and pop a cappella and brought into the world of traditional choir in a way that's really exciting to me, and that I've seen really engage a lot of young singers and new singers and do a lot of good and do a lot of fun stuff. So that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Man, that's very cool. You have a very wide ranging experience there, going from Ithaca all the way to Australia, back to LA, part of the sing off.
Yeah.
Man, that's really cool. Kind of offshoot of that, tell us then what you're going to do for us with Southwestern ACDA and how that all interconnects with who you are and what you do.
Totally. So I'm so excited for Southwest ACDA. I'm going to be one of the first 3. It's me, JD Frizzell, Dr. JD Frizzell, and Christopher Diaz are going to be the first 3 conductors for the honor ensembles for contemporary a cappella. So it's the first honor ensembles for contemporary a cappella that had happened for ACDA. And yeah, we're just so excited they're going to be smaller groups of probably about 16 to 20 singers each. I'm going to be conducting one of the high school level groups. Myself and Christopher are doing those ensembles, and then JD is going to be doing the college ensemble. But yeah, we're going to bring contemporary a cappella in all of its authentic glory to the world of ACDA and really present what this thing can be, and take the opportunity to grab singers from so we've opened this up now to all the different regions. Originally, the singers were just going to come from the Southwest region, and now we've decided we're going to open it to everybody everywhere. So we're going to have hopefully some pretty talented young people that are going to come through and sing with us for that. So we're going to have, the sound system right just the way that we want it. We're going to have all the repertoire that's going to be super authentic and high quality, and it's going to be a party. So I hope people are ready for it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we couldn't, schedule this interview a little sooner so that people could get to know you a little bit better before that registration. But I think we're extending the registration deadline.
We are.
So we're going to try to get this conversation out as quickly as we can, so that everybody can get to know you and get pumped, get excited.
Cool.
About this really cool endeavor. So
yeah, I think the new deadline is December 10th, I believe, for this ensemble. That's what I've been told. So yeah, get your auditions in. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be rocking. Okay. So what's a piece of music then that you think best embodies your personality and doesn't have to be choir related? Yeah,
that is such a hard question. I saw that question and I was like, one piece of music, because it's interesting. It's like what's something that, I don't know, it's got to be contemporary. It's probably got to be like a little silly. Like I'm like a little, I've got, the sense of humor thing. I don't know. I'll tell you this, my like heart music, like the music that like really sticks with me. I love Billy Joel. I love James Taylor. Maybe just top of my head as I'm like going through it, Billy Joel, Miami 2017. You know that song? Seeing the lights go out on Broadway. Yeah, it's got like a little, it's very poppy, a little bit of an edge to it, kind of a sense of humor. There's some like funny jabs in it. I'll go with that. That might be it. One
I
of my
love it.
favorite songs.
Yeah, and probably on the, I think it's on the album, my first ever purchase, ever
Really?
album purchase. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Was that it was Turnstiles and then was it also Songs in the Attic?
That
There's a
sounds right.
couple.
It's been
Yeah.
it's been it's been some years. I'm getting kind of long in the tooth now. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember where it first popped up, but yeah, the live version is the one that is that's the best one, I think.
that's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so then is for choral music, then what is a desert island choral piece that you might like to have with you on a desert island before you were saved?
So can I cheat a little bit and say like Carmina Burana? Can I say like does that count? Is that too much? I was
No.
thinking about that and I was like, all right, I want something that's going to be like entertaining. I want something that's going to be like it's got different moods. I want a little bit of a party, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I could throw Carmina Burana on every night and just like be entertained on this island for quite a while and there's always just something new to discover. So that would maybe be my catch-all answer. It's a little bit of a cheat because that's actually like a bunch of pieces, sort of, but one work
Yeah, it's a big
together.
choral work with lots of movements, so I think
Yeah,
that counts. Yeah,
yeah.
lots of
Uh,
diversity there in the different movements too. So yeah,
I'll go with that. If
I
you'll
like it.
allow it, I'll go with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's your choice, so it's a good choice. I like it.
How big is the island? What else is there to do on the island? Is there like,
I think it's going to be pretty small. So
it's pretty okay, so it's
yeah,
just this. Is there enough room for the choir and the orchestra on the island to do the whole
uh,
thing?
yeah, maybe so, maybe so. Yeah, we're going to have to get an amphitheater or something put on the island.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right. So as you get into your philosophies of programming, how would you tell anybody listening to this what that would be for you?
I come to this from more of a like pop like band kind of background, like I think of it more in terms of like set planning, right? And I think like I'm very focused on, and in most things I do in my arranging and my writing, I'm very kind of like audience experience focused. So whenever I'm programming, I'm thinking about audience experience. I think first and foremost. So I'm thinking about taking them on whatever the emotional journey is of the set. I'm thinking about up tempo ballad, et cetera, et cetera. And even in the context of choral pieces, we still those distinctions I think still apply to a large degree. So I'm thinking about that experience for the person that came in, bought the ticket, sat down, and is gonna have some kind of concert experience for themselves. So I'm thinking about starting all the things I think a lot of us think about, but the starting strong and the moving through. I think maybe one of the things that's a little bit different, for maybe your like traditional choral set, I think a little bit more about, not just the sonics of how the piece works, what the tonalities are, what the overall feel of the piece is, but also just like the the emotional give and take, and being careful not to drag people between disparate emotional states really quickly, right? Guiding people through an experience, with the music that you're selecting in a way that kind of that feels organic and feels in a way, I would use the word maybe conversational, that evokes something, but also kind of takes care of the audience as those evocations are happening. So yeah, something that picking music that is dynamic and exciting, but then also flows together in an emotional way that feels satisfying and feels unified and good. I think that's kind of like how I come to it, and it's a lot of that is from a background of picking pop music for sets of a cappella sets, right? We had to, when I auditioned to be the director of my college group, one of the things I had to do was like write a set list, and they're looking for oh, do you have the right balance of of emotional tones and the right balance of moods and stuff like that. So that's still very much stuck with me in how I think about that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The arc of programming, the ebb and flow, I think, and all of these questions, I should have prefaced, all of these questions are the same questions that I ask everybody, of
Yeah,
course, and they're very choral centric, but spin them on their head, however you like, and
totally.
however it best applies to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I like that answer. That's awesome. How would you then describe what a typical rehearsal might look like under your direction?
So I'm a big proponent of I'm a big proponent of engaging as much of the ensemble as often as I can in a rehearsal. I think that that's something that really stuck with me from my conducting training, and the rehearsals that I always remember when I was younger that really made an impact on me is, I try to I'm not a big part plunker when I can avoid it. I try to I try to empower the ensemble as much as possible coming in to have whatever tools they need to learn the music ahead of time. So I'm a big learning tracks fan, whether that's vocal guides or midis or whatever it takes. I like to have people come into a rehearsal already feeling pretty good about the music that we're going to be singing, and doing more of the notes and rhythm stuff on their own whenever possible. And I'm of the mind that I want to spend time together on the things that we can only do together, right? I want to spend the time in rehearsal on the things that, getting the style together, getting the tones to match, getting, emotional stuff on the same page, and all that stuff. So giving people the ability to come in, not having to work out their parts in rehearsal is important to me. And then when we're together, warm-ups, obviously, super important. Warm-ups for me are, always, they're not just a time to get your voice ready, they're a time to, get yourself mentally ready for what you're about to do, and kind of check into that thing. I think I tend to take a little bit longer actually with warm-ups than a lot of people that I know. And it's for me partially motivated by growing up as kind of a no man's land barytenor, where I was just like never quite warmed up the way that I wanted to be. So I'm very sympathetic to people that need a little bit longer to just kind of get the instrument going. But I like to spend the time on that, not just to get the instrument warmed up, but also trying to establish as much foundation in terms of vowel unity and like all of the technical things that wind up getting applied to the pieces themselves, as much as I can set that up in warm-ups so that I can almost kind of Jedi mind trick them into doing it once we're working. If I can establish that this is a good oo vowel in a warm-up, and then later on all I have to do is go like that, and that oo vowel pops into place, I call that a success, right? So I'm trying to create an environment where it doesn't feel like work too much. Like I'm trying to kind of incept the things in along the way that I want to do, and I hope that as much of the ensemble is engaged, like I said, throughout as possible. Anytime I can involve the sopranos and what the basses are doing, or the altos and what the tenors, et cetera, like where, sometimes if we're working on a rhythm thing, I'll have the whole group clap the beat, while everybody else is singing, just to give people something to do, so we're feeling kind of invested all together for the whole time. And yeah, that's kind of the core of it. And then, I was always taught, my training is like, musical whole, fix a thing, musical whole, right? So you want to like have something where you're doing the big picture, you dial in, you fix some stuff up, then you zoom back out and do the big picture again. And that's like, for me, also as a teacher, I always try to think in terms of, giving people the big picture so they know where you're going, dial it in, tweak some stuff, and then zoom back out and let them see the difference, right? So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff, but I think the core of it all is, I'm trying to create an engaging, organic experience that doesn't feel like work. I want it to feel like play, and I want it to feel like everybody kind of being engaged as much as possible, and feeling free to contribute to their energy in a way that feels comfortable to them.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and you said a couple of things that are good takeaways there. Independent musicianship is one takeaway that
Oh yeah.
I took from it. Coming into rehearsal pretty much prepared so that we can make music together, and not have to worry about the things that you should be doing independently. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Otherwise,
No. And what I would add to that too is, the piece that I think gets missed a lot in the independent musicianship thing is giving people the tools that they need, whatever those tools are, to succeed, right? Because I think that a lot of the time the mistake that can be made is people say, okay, well, come in prepared, but then we either say, well, you can't use learning tracks because those are cheating, or there's a certain idea of how that music needs to be learned. And I'm a huge proponent of everyone learning as many tools to succeed as possible. So I tell people, yeah, learn how to read music, learn solfege, learn as much as you can so you have all of the tools. But at the same time, I want to meet people where they are, right? And so if I have people that are in my ensembles that don't have those skills, I don't want them to be excluded. I don't want them to not be able to contribute and not to be comfortable. So I'm a big proponent of give people whatever. I always say as a director, like, my job is to give you whatever you need to be successful, whatever that is, and I'm going to try to push you to develop new skills to have as much ability to do that as you can. But in the meantime, I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to give you whatever you feel like you need to succeed. So I think that's an important piece of that gets lost sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big advocate for music literacy, but I come at it from a different way because I came as a very auditory learner.
Yeah.
We just kind of freely harmonized around simple melodies growing up, and I didn't read music a lick until maybe even as late as sophomore year of college. I was, doing a lot of catch up.
Yeah.
But I came at it from the auditory perception first.
Yeah, the oral learning.
Yeah, and then applied it to the written. And some people do it the other way around, where it's written and then they make auditory.
That was me, big time. I was super written, and it was it has been to this day a challenge for me in the professional music world. I think like my ear is not as strong as I would like it to be, because I don't have as much of that oral, improvisational ability as I would like to have, because everything always was very much on the page for me. So, that's a skill that as an adult I've really pushed myself to develop. But you're right, it's whatever you do the most when you're younger that sticks the most, right? So I think it's so important to give people as many exposure to different ways of doing it as possible. So you have well-rounded musicians that's what we want. We want well-rounded. We want a broad skill set, because you need it for professional career.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So what then would you say are some tips that you might give to an emerging choral leader, whether that be for traditional choral or for contemporary a cappella or pop?
Yeah, it sort of depends where that person is and where they're coming into it. I think like all the philosophies of programming and kind of rehearsal leading that I've already kind of talked about are things I would tell someone. I think for the pop a cappella thing specifically, don't reinvent the wheel. That's what I would tell a lot of people is there are resources for a lot of this stuff that are out there, both online. There's a lot of books. I have a book that's out, A Cappella 101, where I cover a lot of this stuff. But, I see a lot of particularly, traditional choral directors come into this world and they're like, oh, I don't know where to start. And they're trying to do it on their own. They're trying to figure everything out as they're going. I say, no, there's all these resources out here. You don't have to start from zero. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be trial and error. We did the trial and error for you. You can skip it. We'll tell you so you don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. So, making sure that you're asking those questions and finding those resources, so that you don't have to do, everything from scratch, I think is super important. Yeah, I could talk for forever and ever about this stuff. So it really kind of depends, where everybody comes into this from a different angle and everybody comes to it from a different journey. And that's always what's so exciting to me about working with people on this stuff, is kind of figuring out, again, it's that meeting people where they are, right? It's just figuring out what pieces of the puzzle are missing, and then getting to drop those in for people so they can kind of take the next steps. So, but yeah, don't feel like you have to do it all on your own, because there are a lot of resources available, and you can skip ahead a few steps. You can skip the mid 2000s when we were all just figuring it out. You can go right to now.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of resources, but also just a lot of people you can call.
Yeah.
Just call a friend.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that know things.
Yeah, and a lot of us in the community too. I think one of the things I really value about the contemporary a cappella community, as we call it, is a lot of people are very open and very friendly and very excited to help you do it right. That's something that I think some people in different communities don't always experience. That there's sometimes I've heard people be like, "Wow, like you you were really nice about helping me with this, helping me with this. That wasn't an experience I had before." And I was like, yeah, rising tide lifts all boats, right? I want this music to be better across the board, because I want it to advance, and I want people to have a good experience of it, no matter whether it's my music or your music or whatever it is. So we're all in that same boat together, and I want you to succeed.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes maybe young folks coming into the profession, or maybe people that are just that have been around for a while, are a little intimidated by contacting composers, contacting arrangers, contacting
Sure.
leaders, group leaders. They may think, oh, Rob Dietz, he's been on the, he's worked for the Sing Off. I can't just reach out, but I can
Yeah,
tell
you can.
you, yeah,
Sure you can.
exactly. That was my point, is you can,
Yeah.
you were very responsive to me by email. Same thing with Christopher Diaz, same thing with JD. It's been crazy that you guys that have had such success in the a cappella world, would be able to be responsive as quickly as you
Yeah.
have been to little invitations like this little podcast
Totally.
thing that we're trying to do to get people to know you a little bit better. So
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
and I think what's funny too is, I see this in the context of composers a lot, where people are, very always often very hesitant to reach out to composers. And I, as a composer, I don't want to speak for every composer, but most composers I know are happy to talk at length about their pieces. Nobody I know is particularly shy when it comes to, I think everybody, again, not everybody, but many people feel very honored that anybody is doing their work. It doesn't really matter where you are in your career. It is always a joy and a pleasure to like see somebody invest in something that matters to you. And so, yeah, reach out. Worst thing they can say is nothing or no, right? But most, composers, most people will probably get back to you, and you'll be surprised at what you can gain from making those connections and engaging those people. It can be really great.
yeah, that's been my experience too. So yeah,
Yeah.
we want to encourage that. That's awesome. Okay, so what do you do, as busy as you are, to relax or fight burnout?
Oh boy. I've taken up cycling lately, doing a lot of bike riding. Used to do martial arts, had to give that up kind of in COVID. That was my thing for a while, but I always try to find like, some kind of active thing that I can do a little bit.
Okay, I
Fighting
got to interrupt.
burnouts.
Got to
Yeah.
interrupt. What martial art?
Taekwondo, same as Dr.
Nice.
Frizzell, actually. I don't know if
Really,
you,
that's cool.
yeah, yeah, he and I had that in common from back in the day. But
Yeah, I'm a
um,
jujitsu guy, so that's why I had to
oh,
ask.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I chose the one that I was least likely to get seriously hurt doing. I did the one with no grappling. It's all distance and kicks and trying to stay as far away from getting hit as possible. But
Well,
um,
I came into it from Kung Fu, so I understand.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the burnout thing is real, and I think the way that I've fought that lately is to try to be patient with myself and try to be kind to myself in you know not putting the pressure on myself that every single thing I do has to be the absolute most amazing thing I've ever done. I think that's a really tricky thing, because you always want to push yourself, and you always want to raise the bar and do great work, but at the same time, there's so many people that I know, and I have myself gotten stuck in the trap of getting paralyzed because you are afraid to do anything that's less than just like the most mind-blowing thing you've ever done. And by definition, you've got one best piece, right? There's only one that's at the top of the mountain, and then you're climbing, but a lot of the time you're not going to necessarily get all the way there, by your own estimation, maybe by someone else's estimation, because it is complicated, and people have different perspectives on what makes music great and what makes your music great. But getting out of your own way and giving yourself permission to, you know, not always have to just, knock it out of the park every single time, can be really freeing and can actually lead to some better work. So that's kind of where I'm at with the burnout piece of it these days.
Nice. Okay, so I was just looking this up, so that's why the pause. Yeah, Cold Spring
Yeah.
Harbor was the album. Billy Joel. Looks like my favorite track on that. Yeah, I remember this now. Okay.
Oh, Cold Spring Harbor was your first album?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one was your favorite?
My favorite track, I think, was "You Look So Good to Me."
Ah, deep
Yeah,
cut.
it's kind of deep cut. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
not.
that's it.
Because I was a young person, didn't know what was really on the radio. I wasn't listening much to the radio. It was just
Yeah.
my first purchase. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just went to the back and of the cassette at the
Yep.
time, and found that track and played it over and over and over
Do
again.
you know the story about that album, that it was mastered at the wrong speed? Did you hear that story?
No, I didn't know
So Cold Spring Harbor was mastered at the wrong speed. I'm trying to remember, was it Columbia Records he was on at the time? They screwed up. They messed up the mastering of it. So everything, it was a little faster and it made his voice higher. So it's, she's got a way about her, the way that it is. If you listen to like the original, he has this kind of like reedier sound to his voice, and it's because it was mastered at the wrong speed.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that again against his other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to divert back.
No, not at
around
all.
to that. My brain was kind of stuck on that. That's why.
Yeah, you gotta scratch that itch.
Right. Exactly. Well, we're now into this Accelerando round. If you're down to play
Oh,
it,
let's do it.
just sort of shooting from the hip. There's only one of those questions that I give you ahead of time.
Right.
But otherwise, we'll get into this. So, what's the
Cool.
worst job you ever had outside of choral music?
Ooh, the worst job I ever had. I haven't had a lot of jobs outside of choral music. I'll tell you, the job I was worst at was I worked for my uncle's law firm. I was a gopher for a summer when I was, I don't know, a teenager, and I was not very good at that.
Okay, I thought you were going to say getting coffee for Deke Sharon.
That was a great job though. I mean, I had such a great time doing that even if I wasn't the best at making the coffee, I certainly would not call that my worst job. It was a lot of fun.
So best job. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure bad food to eat?
Ooh, guilty pleasure bad food to eat. Oh, that's complicated because I like a lot of bad food. I like a lot of junk food. I was gonna say like a really good fast food burger, but if you really want to dive, like really guilty, Cheetos, like puffy Cheetos. I never eat them because they're so bad. They're just so bad for me, and they make me feel terrible. But oh, do I love puffy Cheetos? That stuff is so good.
So we'll catch you with a tub of the Cheetos puffs then.
Any cheesy like puffy thing. I like puffy cheesy stuff. It's so good.
Okay. All right, right on. If you had to do any other job besides being a musician of some kind, what would that be?
Probably therapist, like probably some kind of like, counseling or psychologist sort of situation. Helping people see things differently, helping people, manage problems, stuff like that.
Well, we do that through music anyway, don't we?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's basically, that is my job in some ways sometimes. So it doesn't feel like too big a stretch, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so a choice here. What is the scariest moment in your life, or what is your biggest phobia?
Jeez, scariest moment in my life or biggest phobia. Biggest phobia. Okay, those are actually kind of related. Probably biggest phobia is like water, specifically like water where I can't see the bottom. And scariest moment of my life was when I went snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef on my honeymoon a few years ago. And I jumped into that ocean because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I got one once in a lifetime chance. I'm gonna overcome this thing. And I looked down and I just saw the endless abyss of the ocean below me, and I was terrified. My wife will tell you the story. The things that were coming out of my mouth and the way that my panicked face was, she's like, I've never seen you like that, and I probably will never see you like that again. I was like, you probably won't, because I'm never getting in the open ocean like that ever again.
Yeah, I can relate to that 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm originally from Dallas, but I'm in landlocked Oklahoma, right now. So when we do get to the ocean, I still have that fear, and had a few near-death moments there too. So
Yeah, my personal opinion, this is just me. I don't think people have any business in the ocean. If we were supposed to be there, we'd have flippers or gills or something. And I think that God is like, you guys stay out of that. Like, don't. I don't like
oh,
seafood either. I'm like, don't eat it.
oh
Don't
yeah.
mess with the ocean.
Yeah, but
Other
you know
people.
what? On the flip side of that, I've seen guys, through travels and whatnot, that are just fish. They,
They just, yeah.
they just, would dive down to the bottom of the ocean
Yep.
floor near a reef or something, and secure the boat. Or I didn't get it. And I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that. That seems superhuman, but
Good for those people. I'm happy for them. I still, that, you can do it. I just don't think we're supposed to,
yeah,
it's just the ocean. I don't know about it.
I'll stay on the land and make music. How about that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, cool. All right. So now we're to the question that I gave it to you a little before. So if you could have any four people on your proverbial coral Mount Rushmore, who would you choose?
So I thought a lot about this, and I was talking about it, and here's my non-answer answer. I think that I've came to the place in my mind where I was like, I think anytime we put anybody on a Mount Rushmore, it's dangerous because you're saying that, this is the pinnacle and this is the thing. And two things about that. First of all, then you're saying that these other people aren't, whoever those other people are. And that's always dangerous. Because music is subjective and music is varied and people have different tastes. So I sort of avoid looking at it that way. But the other thing is, I realize when I'm thinking about the people that have really influenced me and the people that I really love, I don't like everything about any single composer, musician, you know what I mean? It's like, it's always a balance, there are things that you really love and there's things that you would do differently. And I think it is the balance of those two things that is so important. And I think, whenever we idolize, whenever we canonize, lionize, etc., all the I's, it can be dangerous because it takes something that is complex and makes it not complex. It makes it black and white. It makes it, this person's on Mount Rushmore, we're carving them in stone, and that's the thing. And I think that's a tricky way of looking at it. So there are certainly people that have influenced me who I have a lot of respect for. But I would push back against the concept of chiseling anybody in stone, because I think that it's a much more exciting world to live in, where we look at, where we don't necessarily have a top of the mountain, where we have an idea that a lot of people are worthy of a great deal of respect and a great deal of adoration, but that we also look at nobody's perfect, and that everyone's flaws are as exciting sometimes as the things that make them great. So that's my non-answer to that question.
No, I love that non-answer answer.
Yeah,
And
that's
and that's you make great points for reasons of not to do it. A previous guest also had a great idea to have, like, instead of chiseling into stone, let's have like a LED screen where you could switch it out
there you go.
from time to time. So
Like a billboard that you
yeah,
can rotate it.
exactly.
I love that. Yeah, that's definitely more how I look at it. When I'm really thinking about my influences and the people and the things that I admire. It's not a mountain. It's an LED screen.
Love it, love it. Okay, what is something that you spend way too much money on?
Ooh, junk food. Ice cream. Oh my God, ice cream. Although less so now because I've started to make it myself. I got an ice cream maker on our wedding registry a few years ago, and started making my own ice cream. So before that, ice cream. These days, I'm trying to think of what do I spend a lot of money on now? It's food in some capacity. Maybe it's less specifically ice cream, but I love food. I love going out for good meals. I'll spend way too much money on food if you give me the chance.
Yeah, you and me both, to my own detriment, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what would be a secret talent that most people might be surprised to learn about you?
Maybe the different athletic things. The story of a buddy of mine. I used to do like free running and like parkour in college. Of course, made famous by that scene in The Office when they're doing parkour. But yeah, I used to do like a lot of kind of like gymnastic sort of free running things like that. I don't do it anymore because I don't want to get hurt like that. But yeah, I think I don't know if it's like would be a current talent, but I think a lot of people are often surprised when they hear about the athletic things I have done in my past. I was a wrestler for a couple years too. That was another thing when I was in middle high school. You wouldn't necessarily. I gave it up to do musicals. I was getting again. It's the getting hurt thing. You know, it's like you can't. When you want to be in the musical, you can't be busting your leg every day. So you need that for the dance. So
I'm gonna have to take your advice because I'm having nursing some injuries right now. But
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just fine. Yeah, just normal jujitsu stuff. But that's kind of why I was gonna ask. Okay, parkour and wrestling and but you didn't want to get hurt with because you wanted to do just taekwondo so you could do the punches and kicks and
try and always wear your mouth guard because too for me like I as a singer and beatboxer especially like I need my teeth like I can't have my teeth getting knocked out either so
right
that was another thing that kind of turned me off of some of those more dangerous athletic pursuits.
but you scratched that itch when you were younger it sounds like so
yeah and I got out of it without any permanent damage. So
there you go. Awesome.
Call it a success.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. Think about that one. I mean, people always talk about like invisibility versus flight, right? Where it's like, if you want to fly, it's like, you want everybody to see you. If you want to be invisible, you want people to not see you. It's like, I think that there's kind of benefits to both of those. I would have always said flying, but as I get older and I get more introverted, I'm like, maybe invisibility. That would be nice to just be able to just chill and not have to worry about like being seen for a second. I can't think if there's any others. The best one is telekinesis. I mean, that is objectively the best superpower, I think. It's the most powerful one. And it's like, we don't talk about that. It's like anytime you have somebody that can move things with their mind, it's game over. Because that you can do anything. That also you could technically fly, right? If you can move yourself with your mind, then you can. There's flight right off the bat. So, but it's a big responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. So I don't know if I would want the responsibility of being able to move things with my mind because I would be afraid of what would happen when I would be stuck in traffic and I would be knocking cars out of the way to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I trust myself with that kind of power. So, so I don't know. I'm leaning invisibility as the catch-all.
I'm kind of surprised to learn that about you just based on this conversation. You don't seem very introverted to me.
It's I am maybe what you would call like an extroverted introvert. I think like introvert and extrovert, in my understanding is more about where you gain your energy, right? And people who are extroverted gain energy. They get more hyped up. They get more more energy from people. And for me, I'm the opposite. I like, I like to perform and I like to talk to people and I like to do stuff like this, but it's not what gives me energy. Like after this, I'm going to have to go have a cup of tea and like reset, you know what I mean? And so I really consider myself an introvert in that way. I gain energy from being alone. I gain energy from my like thoughts and inner life and stuff like that. So, that's, it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, I relate to that too. I'm an extroverted introvert myself because, this whole thing of trying to talk to people, especially on Zoom where there's no like face-to-face connection.
Sure.
And social cues and things that I'm missing. This is very difficult for me.
Oh yeah. And there's the awkward, lag when you're done talking, it's like, there's the
lag and I lose my words and, all of that. So, in front of an ensemble, I can do that, but so I feel you on that very, very much so. Last one, and I stole this from the Tim Ferriss podcast in full disclosure. Cool. But if you could have any message on a billboard for thousands of people to see, what would it say?
Oh, message on a billboard for thousands of people to see. My first thought was like, it's going to be okay. That was my like first thought. But then I was also like, well, maybe I should promote some music too while we're at it. Maybe it would be like, it's going to be okay, parentheses, join choir.
There you go. It's going to be okay. Join choir or join choir.
Parentheses, it's going to be
It's
okay.
going to be okay. There you go.
Exactly. There you go.
I like that. Okay. New t-shirt design coming.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So congratulations. You've finished the Seychelles round. You achieved tempo presto. Way to go.
All right.
Who is another choral musician that you'd like to lift up?
I have been so impressed with Marianne Mulia-Smith and Emily Drum, who are two young composer arrangers in Arizona right now. Both of them were alumni of my program, A Cappella Academy. You can see the poster on the wall. And they are just killing it right now in terms of how they're putting out so many great arrangements. They're getting it in the hands of people who really need it. And yeah, I'm so impressed with, how they are developing their skills right now and reaching out to the communities that really need them, both in their area and broadly. So check out their arrangements, Marianne Mulia-Smith and Emily Drum. And they also have like, I think it's called Vocasol. It's like a one-day choir series of events that they're hosting in Arizona right now. So yeah, they're already doing big things. I think even more big things to come from them. But yeah, watch those names and look for those names if you're looking for contemporary a cappella arrangements as well. They're really great.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't heard those names before. I'm gonna have to look them up myself.
Yeah.
Great. Goals. What are your goals for the upcoming year? What are you most looking forward to? Projects you're working on, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I just recently, so my summer program, A Cappella Academy, we just recently were going to be entering our 11th summer this year. Also, if anybody is listening to this, so that program, just a little bit about that. It's a 10-day summer program that we host out here in Los Angeles. It's open to anyone between the ages of 12 and 18 from anywhere in the world. We bring people in internationally. We've had people from like 39, 40 countries, something like that. It's been a really wonderful thing. And we bring them out here and we sort them into pop a cappella groups. And they get to spend the week working with different directors. We bring in some of the best directors who do this style, and we do that. We've got a large choir that they sing in. We've got lots of classes in all kinds of production and beatboxing and arranging and all that good stuff that we do throughout the week. And then we do also just regular camp stuff like the scavenger hunt and pool time and stuff like that. And it's a really great experience. And it's the thing I've done in my life that I'm the most proud of. Creating this program with Bram and Avi Kaplan, who was the founding bass of Pentatonix and the arranger producer for Pentatonix, respectively. And so this year, for the first time, we're doing a year-round program in Los Angeles called Academy Choir LA, which is a program that I'm artistic directing. And we're taking the concept of the choir, the all-camp choir that we do at camp, and we're doing it year-round. So we meet once a week now. And if you watch our videos on YouTube, like that choir really exemplifies the kind of crossover pop choral sound that I'm really excited about creating. So I'm really, really pumped to have this choir now that meets regularly, that meets year round to work with and continue to develop that sound. And I really, I hope to be able to kind of create a new sound in choral music that really is a little bit of a hybrid of traditional choral sound and pop a cappella sound in a way. That uses maybe, what I hope will be the best elements of both of those things. And yeah, I'm just really hoping to use that sound to, not only continue to expand the choral tradition, which is something that I'm just really passionate about. I think the choral community is amazing. And I think that what we offer to the world is amazing. And what choral music has meant to me in my life, and the belonging that it has given to me and the community that it has given to me has been so important. So, I'm hoping that this sound that I'm working on can open up new avenues and bring new people into the tent, bring in people who, use their voices a little bit differently, or have a little bit of a different perspective when it comes to music, that this might be able to engage them. So really excited about that right now, using that choir to kind of prove that concept and continue to develop that concept. Yeah, and then moving into our 11th summer this summer for camp is pretty amazing, and looking for new ways to kind of expand A Cappella Academy into reaching more people to have them come to camp, and also creating new experiences for people. We had to pivot to digital during COVID, as most people did, but I think we're gonna pretty soon be bringing that back in some capacity to have some kind of online thing that people can engage in from all over the world, and stay tuned for more about that. But yeah, that's really what I'm pumped about right now, is continuing to move into that choral world and continue to develop that sound, and yeah, just like having a blast, like making some new choral sounds. I think it's so exciting. It's one of the things that got me into a cappella in the first place, was just how versatile and cool the human voice is, and that it can sound like so many things, and then itself, and that every person has their own version of that thing, that they give to the whole sound, and there's no two that are exactly alike. And the endless creativity of that is so exciting to me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now in terms of goals, and what I'm hoping to bring to the landscape and bring to the world.
Excellent. Yeah, probably people can find this on a simple search, but so we can put it down into the description of this video. Give them a place URL maybe that they can find more info.
Sure. So for me, robdietzmusic.com, ROBDIETZ, diet with a Z, music.com. And then A Cappella Academy is acapellaacademy.org, with the A shared in the middle, but you can also just Google A Cappella Academy. That'll give you all the information about that. And what else? And audition for the Southwest ACDA Contemporary A Cappella honor choirs. We're so excited about it. We'd love to have as many talented folks from anywhere in America as we can get, and it's going to be a great experience. I'm really pumped about it. It's going to be something unlike anything ACDA has ever seen. Dun, dun, dun. And it's going to be great.
That's right. swacda.org for that registration, and not only to register singers, but also yourself for the conference.
Hope to see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to plug? Social media or other ways
yeah,
to get in contact with you?
Sure. You can find me on all socials at rdietz55, at RDIETZ55. Always happy to answer questions there. You can find my email on my website as well. But any questions about anything a cappella, I'm always happy to answer. Again, I've got my book, A Cappella 101. It's available from Hal Leonard. Really good resource if you're just getting into this, or if you have been in this for a minute and you want to expand your skill set. Great information there about arranging, bass singing, beatboxing, choreography, how to create virtual choir videos for different groups. So a lot of information there. Anything else I want to share? Auditions for A Cappella Academy are open till January 15th. If you happen to live in LA or know anyone who lives in Los Angeles who wants to be in the Academy Choir, auditions for that are ongoing. You can find all of that on acapellaacademy.org.
Great. And again, we'll put all this down into the description of this video so that people can easily access it and hopefully hyperlink right to these different places, including the book.
Right.
So yeah, thanks again so much for joining me and for telling us a little bit more about yourself and your unique answers to all these stock questions that we've been asking all of our guests. And I really appreciated all your answers. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing you work a little bit at our conference in Denver, Limitless conference, #Limitless.
#Limitless. Amazing. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.